You ever have one of those mornings where you're standing barefoot on your front porch, coffee in hand, watching two cops holding bolt cutters ready to break into your own pool gate, and all you can think is, this can't be real life? Yeah, that was me. It started with a $200 smart lock, just a regular security upgrade for my ranch-style property out in Cedar Hollow. I'd finally made it, sold my little software company to a tech giant after 5 years of coding till 3 a.m., living off energy drinks, instant ramen, and sheer willpower. The sale went through, I cashed out, and I did what every burnt-out engineer dreams of. I bought peace. 2 acres, mountain views, and a 40-foot infinity pool at the edge of a whisper-quiet pine grove. The first 2 weeks were everything I'd hoped for. Waking up with sunlight instead of Slack pings, morning laps instead of debugging, real breakfast instead of gas station granola bars. The sound of wind through the trees replaced the buzz of notifications. I thought I'd finally arrived at my version of heaven. And then, on a Monday morning, I noticed something was off. The lounge chairs were different. Not by much, but they were angled in a way I would never leave them. There were wet spots on the deck, even though it hadn't rained. I shrugged it off, told myself maybe it was wind or dew, until I walked over to empty the skimmer basket and found something that made my stomach flip. A used condom, floating there like it owned the place. That's when I knew someone had been in my pool, doing things in my pool, on my property. The next hour, I turned into a CSI detective. 6 White Claw cans in the pool house trash? Funny, I don't drink. Cigarette butts ground into my concrete patio. Behind one of the planters, dried vomit, not even subtle. I locked every gate, triple-checked the perimeter. Everything was secure. So how the hell did they get in? That night, I pulled footage from the old camera at the front gate. It was a grainy piece of junk the previous owner left behind, but it still worked. I scrolled through hours of nothing until Saturday night. What I saw made my blood go cold. 3 cars pulled up, then 2 more. Teenagers and 20-somethings hopping out, dressed for a night out, laughing. At least 30 of them. And at the gate, like some kind of bootleg club promoter, stood a young guy with backward cap and cocky stance collecting what looked like cash. His name, I'd later find out, was Travis, son of the HOA president. Turns out my pool had been turned into Cedar Hollow's hottest underground party venue. $50 a head, BYOB, all access, all illegal. I watched, horrified, as they trashed my garden, blasted music, drank till they puked, and worse. Travis pocketed bills with a smug grin, like he owned the place. Next day, I marched straight to the hardware store and bought an August Smart Lock Pro with camera integration, motion alerts, the works. I installed it that afternoon, added a bright red "Private Property, No Trespassing" sign, and figured that was the end of it. Yeah, I was wrong. 2 hours later, a knock like thunder shakes my door. I open it to find a woman in her 50s, bleach blonde bob, giant sunglasses on a shaded porch, and a permanent scowl. She didn't introduce herself, just pointed at the lock and snapped, "That monstrosity violates Section 8.4.1 of our HOA design code." I blinked. "Sorry, who are you?" "I'm Deborah Ellis," she snapped, "President of Cedar Hollow Homeowners Association, and you're in violation of community standards regarding exterior hardware and surveillance devices." She handed me a violation notice, $500 a day in fines if I didn't remove the lock. I tried to explain about the party, the trespassing, the condom. She cut me off mid-sentence. "If you have security concerns, you submit a written request to the HOA. You don't just slap your little Silicon Valley toys onto our gates like this is San Francisco." Then she turned and left without another word. That night, my neighbor, Walter, retired schoolteacher, chain of flannel shirts and life wisdom, brought over some fresh cornbread. He saw the notice and sighed. "Ah, Deb's favorite section," he muttered. "He made that one up when the Martins tried to install a motion light." He leaned in. "She needs your pool, son." I looked at him sideways. "What do you mean?" "Deb's house is big, real nice, but after her real estate empire crumbled in 19, this HOA presidency is all she's got. No income, lots of expenses, and Travis, well, he was expelled from college. Now he freeloads and plays king of the cul-de-sac. That pool of yours? That's been his golden goose." Walter wasn't wrong. Turns out the previous owner had barely lived there, left the place to a property management firm, and Travis's girlfriend used to work for them. That's how they got the key. They'd been hosting parties every weekend for years, right under everyone's nose. I figured the smart lock and camera would shut it down. But these people weren't just entitled, they were determined. 3 days later, at 6:15 in the morning, I heard shouting from the pool gate. Pulled up the camera, Travis and 3 of his pals, pool bags and coolers in hand, kicking the gate, screaming. "She said this would be fixed! Ashley's expecting a sunrise shoot!" Then, right there, in front of the camera, Travis pulled out his phone and dialed 911. "Yes, hello, there's a man drowning in my neighbor's pool. He went under and hasn't come up." I watched, dumbfounded, as he added fake tears, looked directly at my camera, and even added a line about an electronic lock keeping him out. 8 minutes later, 2 cruisers tore up my driveway. I met them in pajamas, coffee in hand. "Officers," I said calmly, "no one's drowning, but I think you'll want to see this." I showed them the camera footage, Travis's fake call, his performance for the camera. The officers' faces changed instantly. Filing a false emergency report. That's a crime. They confronted Travis at the gate. He tried to fake cry again. His mom arrived in a panic, tried to spin it, but the video didn't lie. He got off with a warning, but I knew they weren't done. They just changed tactics. Next morning, noise complaint for swimming at 7 a.m. Alone, no music, just laps. Day after that, Deborah measuring my grass with a ruler, claiming it was half an inch too tall. Then came the online posts, photos of my cameras, captions about spying on neighborhood children. The HOA Facebook group was flooded with fear-mongering. The kicker, a letter from Deborah's lawyer claiming I had caused her son emotional distress, defamed him, and owed her $50,000 in damages. That night, I sat by my pool, wondering if I'd made a mistake. I'd worked hard for this piece, and now the whole neighborhood seemed to hate me. But then Walter showed up again, 2 coffees in hand. He said, "Time for you to see something." He pulled out his phone, opened an Instagram account called Hollow Club Nights. 5,000 followers. Every picture, my pool, sunset shots, party flyers, girls in bikinis. Tagline, DM for access. Every single photo tagged with my home address. I felt sick. This wasn't just freeloading, this was organized crime. I went full FBI, downloaded every post, cross-referenced with my camera archives, built a full spreadsheet, weekly parties, pricing tiers, attendance numbers. Estimated revenue? Over $600,000 in 3 years. They even had a shell company, E&T Events, registered to Deborah's address, never filed taxes, no permits, no insurance. And it got worse. Hospital records matched at least 3 teens from the parties, alcohol poisoning, 1 missing overnight, another in a car crash. Then I found the tape that sealed it. Travis filming his mom saying, "This month I take 80%. I deal with the neighbors, the HOA, the cops. That's worth it." That's when I knew this wasn't personal. This was business. And I was going to end it. I registered to speak at the next HOA meeting. Security concerns, I wrote. They approved it. When the night came, Deborah opened with a motion to fine me again for unauthorized surveillance. The room voted. 47 hands went up. They thought I was the problem. Then they handed me the mic. I clicked the first slide, my pool at sunset. This, I said, is what I bought. Next slide, trash, condoms, beer cans. This is what I got. Then the party footage. Gasps. One woman screamed, "That's my daughter." Next slide, Travis taking cash, Deborah counting money. The crowd erupted. Slide after slide, I laid out 3 years of evidence, social media pages, tax documents, videos, shell companies. Then the kicker, hospital bills, a mother sobbing about her daughter still in the ICU. Then I found the tape that sealed it.